All right, geometry 4-1, reflections. This is a continuation. We started this line of thought in section 2.4. All right, so in section 2.4, we got our rules for when we reflect over the x-axis and when we reflect over the y-axis. So we got our coordinate rules from back in 2.4. Okay, these will come in handy all week. And then, so we did a little reflecting. Now we're going to do a little more, and we're going to add on to it for when we don't reflect over an axis line. What does that look like? Okay. So reflection in a horizontal and vertical line. It says consider quadrilateral, which is just a four-sided shape with these vertices. It's in the image below here. Describe each transformation using stated method. All right, using coordinates. All right, using coordinates. Okay. Well, my coordinates, it looks like we're reflecting over the y-axis, probably. Yeah. Because we are 2 to the left and to the right perfectly, so we're reflecting over the y-axis. And we can prove that. So R starts out at 2, 1, and then R prime is negative 2, 1. And they all follow the exact same pattern. They all reflect the exact same rate. Okay, so they all follow the same rule. As long as every reflected point follows the same rule, you are good to go. Okay, T, for some reason, I can't seem to write and talk at the same time. All right, so let's see, V. Final one is V, 5, 3. Okay, V's final resting place, or V prime, minus 5, minus 3. All right, so it wants us to use coordinates, which basically means it just wants us to state the rule. And we're going to be stating the rule. So we got X, Y. And how did they all change? Well, let's see. This should be a positive, sorry. So how did they change? Well, it looks like all of them are x's changed signs. So we change the sign of the x, y stays as is. All right, so that's my rule. And that is a reflection over the y-axis. So typically, if you reflect over the x or the y-axis, it's going to ask you to use your coordinates, which just means it wants you to write the rule. Okay? It wants you to write the rule. Okay? Now, sometimes it's using words. Now, if it's telling you to use words, that means chances are we are not using a rule. All right? Now, this one does not reflect over the x-axis because this looks like it's just 1 above, but it's 3 below. So that is definitely not reflecting over the x. So this is one of those times when we're reflecting over something that's not an axis line. Okay? But we are a reflection. So there is some line that we are reflecting over. So I'm going to pick one of my points. I'm going to pick S and S prime. And we're going to see how S and S prime move. All right. So we've got S, which is 2, 4. And it moved to, this is S. And S prime moved to 2, negative 6. Okay. So very obviously it does not follow one of my rules. Okay. So, but what we can do is from S to S prime, what we can do is we can find the midpoint. We can find the midpoint between these 2 points, and that will give me my line we reflected over. And now we've already know our midpoint. We have our midpoint equation. Midpoint equation for 2 points. That would be x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay, midpoint of 2 points. We did that. I forget exactly which section, but we have covered this. Now, if I do my x's, well, 2 plus 2 is 4, divided by 2, that's 2. So nothing's really going to change for my x's. So we're going to do our y's. Okay, we're going to find the midpoint of our y's. So we've got 4 plus that minus 6. Okay, and then divided by 2. A positive and a negative is a negative, so we can rewrite that for minus 6 divided by 2. And that equals minus 2 divided by 2, which equals a negative 1. So we're reflecting, we're going to cross the y-axis, and we found our midpoint of our y's. So we are reflecting where y equals negative 1. Y equals negative 1. Okay, so that is y equals negative 1, right about there. Alright, so that is going to be a horizontal line across the y-axis at negative 1. There's my line of reflection right there. Alright, now one more thing we add to this. Not only does it sometimes we reflect over different horizontal or vertical lines, sometimes we reflect vertically. And we are reflecting where y equals x, and we have a rule for that, okay? Here is our rule for when you reflect y equals x. So we just have a rule. It's rules based, all right? So we will reference this particularly on Thursday. Just saying. So let me see. We're just flipping. We're just taking our numbers and flip them. So that's 1, negative 2, 8, 1, 4, 1, 4, 4, and 2, 2. All right, let's plot there's our line of reflection. So A prime is 1, negative 2, okay. A prime. B prime is 8, 1. E prime. C prime is 4, 1. C prime. D prime is 4, 4, 1 right over. And E prime, 2, 2, 1 right over. Now that I have my dots, I can play connect the dots. A prime to B prime, to C prime, to D prime, to E prime, and back to A prime. Now it reflects it over where y equals x. We just followed our rule. It's very rules based. So we have a rule. We have our rules from 2-4. And when we reflect over something that is not a rule, okay, determine if it's going to be y equals, find your midpoint of a y, or if it was definitely x, then you would find a midpoint of x. All right, you can do this. You've got it. Make sure you show your work on your assignments. Good luck.